if you need to turn it. Just go ahead.
It's amazing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 2-minute warning. Can I please ask everyone who has a cell phone to ensure that your cell phones are placed in the silent mode or in the vibration mode. We will begin in approximately a minute and a half. Thank you. Alpha Day and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us and participating in today's oversight hearing. It is 8 a.m. in the morning. The Committee on the Guam U.S. Military Buildup and Infrastructure of Iminatrentay na Legislature in Guam hereby convenes this oversight hearing for the Guam Regional Transit Authority. In accordance with the open government laws, the initial 5-day notice of the oversight hearing was disseminated to community stakeholders and media partners on Monday, October 30th, 2017, with the 48-hour notice disseminated on Monday, November 6th, 2017. This oversight hearing allows the committee to not only assess GRTA's needs, but to better understand how the agency utilizes its resources while addressing the needs of community stakeholders, specifically the ridership of Guam Regional Transit Authority. With GRTA's mission being to provide reliable, accessible, and cost-effective public transportation services to the general public and individuals with disabilities. These very services allow individuals opportunities they may not have had otherwise. Public transportation drastically improves the quality of life to the rider by providing access to employment, access to care, and access to education. With that being said, it is important to first address the concerns of the ridership in order to establish a baseline of priorities, and then we will proceed to the agency. Based on the sign-up sheet, I would like to invite the following individuals who have identified themselves as riders. Mr. Noel Lazaga, if you would like to provide oral testimony, you're more than welcome to join us up front. Noel Lazaga, Josephine Cortez, Jessica Crisostomo, Hiri Gozaga, Dot Arentz, and Marlon Molinos. Once again, the following individuals are invited if in fact you would like to provide oral testimony to members of the committee. You're invited up front. Noel Lazaga, Josephine Cortez, Jessica Crisostomo, Hiri Lazaga, Dot Arentz, and Marlon Molinos. Anyone else that I've identified that would like to provide oral testimony, please, you're more than welcome to join us up front. I will continue with the other, I'm sorry, Mr. Leongo, when I call the list. I will continue with the other individuals as soon as I see the panel complete. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going according to the sign-up sheet. We do have one additional chair up front, so I would like to invite Mr. Andrew Taidinko. Will you be providing oral testimony? No, sir. Because you identified yourself as a rider. Okay. If not, can I proceed to Lisa Ogo? Lisa, please, if you can grab a chair at the table. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oversight hearing. I would like to begin from my left, your right, and then onward to your left side. And please, if you can speak into the microphone, if you need any assistance, then my people would assist you with the microphone and ensuring that it's approximately 2 inches from your mouth while you're speaking. So if we can proceed, identify yourself for the record, and then proceed with any comments you would like to share with members of the committee. Before I proceed with the comments, I'd like to thank the following senators for joining us this morning: Senator Eugene Bisco Lee, Senator Will Castro, Senator Jimmy Espadon, Vice Speaker Therese Delahi, and Senator Mary Torres. Thank you very much, senators, for joining us for this morning's oversight hearing. Sir, if I can ask you to begin and identify yourself for the record and proceed with your comments. Thank you.
Half a day, senators. My name is Marlon Molinos. I'm a paratransit rider for over 20 years. And during that time, I have used the transit system to accomplish several goals. One of those goals that I'd like to talk about is my goal to graduate from the University of Guam with a degree in communications. And it wouldn't be possible without the use of the transit system to get to class and go to those things. I've also used the transit system to be heavily involved in the community through nonprofit organizations, and also, as you mentioned, through employment. So I also use, that's my main source of transportation, is the paratransit. So all I really ask is to, please consider, the funding in regards to what you are putting aside as far as for the transit system, because I feel that with the right amount of budget, the transit system can run as efficiently as possible. And I'm also suggesting that maybe if you'd like, if you can get, we would love to be a part of the discussion in regards to, being a part of figuring out some solutions to this issue, and we would definitely be willing to be involved with that process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Molinos. Ma'am?
Yes, I'd like to mention there also concerning of the paratransit.
I'm sorry, ma'am, if you can just identify yourself for the record.
I'm Josephine Cortez, and I'm disabled for the longest time, and this paratransit is really a big help for me, because I have no means of transportation, but even not having the right budget for them also, or assistance for the bus needs. I said they cannot pick me up all the time. I miss my medical stuff and everything, but the point is I really need transit daily, which is for my life. And I hope that they will be in proper use for us, the disabled. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cortez. Ma'am?
Okay. Hafa day, everybody. My name is Lynn Tidinko, and I wear many hats. I am an individual with a disability. I wear many hats in the disability realm. Why? Because I feel it's important that we also, like Mr. Molinos, are invited to the table to enhance the services that are provided to, for us so we can be able to get to our education, our health needs, our employment, and even our daily necessities. And a lot of us rely on the bus, the Guam Regional Transit Authority. And I am the Vice President of Senior Self-Advocates in Action, which is a nonprofit organization that's been alive since 2010. And we are a nonprofit organization of persons with disability who take an active role on issues that concern us and our daily lives. And we are a nonprofit, and a lot of us are members of Senior here. And we just like to thank the Guam Regional Transit Authority for the great improvements that have been made. Yes, we have a long ways to go, but just in the last 4 years, we've got new buses. We've got a service contract. We have a management team and employees that really do care about what happens there and what they do. And whenever they're very accessible to us when we call for assistance or information. They're very very helpful. So we feel that there is progress being made, and it's awesome. But what I'm here for today, sir, is I feel like, okay, let's have this scenario. Let's say I'm a child going to school, and let's say that I'm going to have lunch money, right, for money for lunch. Let's say they give me they give me $5. I know the rate's kind of weird, but let's say I have $5 and the meal is like $7. From the get-go, I'm going to starve, which I do need to lose weight, but from the get-go, I'm going to starve because I already know that the one choice, two choice is what, $5, $6, $7? So I do know that during the budget hearings, what was asked for was, I believe, 6.9 million. And I believe what we got, which was a little bit of an increase from last year's, was 3.6, which through my research, is only less than a 1% increase from last year's budget. And so I think our regional transit authority was kind of doomed to fail. This is me looking from as the writer, how do you expect to run the transit system? I believe we got 14 new buses. The numbers may be wrong for me, but we got a lot of new buses, and I believe 11 new vans. And a lot of us depend on that to get to chemotherapy, dialysis, to go to school, for employment, and even to get to the grocery store every day for our necessities or medical appointments. So I do know that, we can't always get what we ask for on the wish list, but to me, I think us sitting here today, we were kind of destined to fail because we didn't get an adequate amount to run the transit system. And so I'm just, curious. Here we are. I know that we've been talking about it. I know I attend the Guam Regional Transit Authority meeting because I'm very hands-on. I attend it every time that I can if I'm not sick. And I constantly hear, we are going to have a budget shortfall. So 2 weeks ago, when I needed to go to the doctor, I had a medical appointment that was scheduled way in advance, but due to, it wasn't my fault or the transit authority, I found out, okay, Lynn, you won't be able to make your appointment. And, I'm recovering from heart surgery and all that, but I wasn't able to make it for something that was scheduled like 3 months in advance. Why? Because we heard that there is a budget shortfall and the buses weren't able to run. So also, I am speaking on behalf of our other peers who do receive constant medical treatment, like dialysis, chemotherapy, and they're saying, Lynn, we are not able to make it to the legislature, but could you please be our voice? Let them know how we're going to die. We're going to die if we don't have that luxury to say, oh, we can reschedule, getting Monday, Wednesday, Friday treatment. They don't have that luxury of scheduling their appointments, and without their treatment, they're going to die. So, we just lost our mom for cancer recently, with cancer, and she was not, it was a little different story, but not having access to these, to what we need to get to where we need to go to survive, we really need your help. And we're very serious. Just because we're people with disability, we really we've been asking this for a long time. We welcome the invitation to sit at the table and take an active role, because how are you going to know what we need without our voices? Our voices are the strongest, so please allow us that ever so important seat at the table, so we can have the quality of life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dinko, for your testimony this morning. Please proceed.
Okay, Senator. My name is Nawal Lizaga, and that my statement only for now is because what's happening right now, that like what somebody say that we have 3 buses only now. Okay, the easy word for me is this one. What's gonna happen if if I got denied at paratransit, and then I need to go to the second step, that's the fixed route. So how am I gonna go to my A, B, and C if 7:30 bus at Harmon Drugs, of course, I could go in at my 8 o'clock work jobs. And then how am I gonna go to the field now to do all my meetings? Like example, my meeting is public works. So how gonna go? Because all the days is 8 o'clock is no problem. That I'm saying is from my office to go to public, go to my second appointment, my third appointment, my fourth appointment, until we reach 5 o'clock. If the bus is like in going to my third appointment, how's that if blue one turns around, become red line? See? So I'm gonna be stuck waiting for the bus like right now. I don't know what's going on too. Because what I heard only to that person, we got only 3 buses. It's only that. And senators, the rest of my complaint, my friends, they answered it already, so that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lazaga. Ma'am?
Half a day. My name is Lourdes San Mesa, and I am a parent, legal guardian, and an advocate for an individual with a disability who is an ADA certified bus rider. I represent him today. I also sit on the GRTA Advisory Committee. I would like to speak today on the matter of GRTA's proposed bus fare increases. In November 2016, GRTA held 3 public hearings regarding the proposed bus fare increases. Those in attendance voiced their concerns over the extremely high rates, especially for those utilizing the paratransit system. Several said they will not be able to afford the proposed fare hikes, and others argued that the quality of service doesn't justify it. To allow the ridership an opportunity to become actively involved, the GRTA board and management established an advisory committee for the purpose of recommending to the GRTA board a bus fare structure that is fair, reasonable, and meets the challenges of affording GRTA revenue to make improvement to transit facilities that is lacking or neglected. The GRTA Advisory Committee, comprised of riders, family members, and an advocate from the American Job Center, met weekly beginning in February 8, 2017. The committee concluded that fare increases should be considered. However, it must be done in a way that does not hurt the very people who depend on public transportation. After 10 weeks of research, meaningful discussions, and talking to other riders, the advisory committee drafted a fare rate increase proposal that they believe to be reasonable and equitable while providing an increased revenue source for the transit system. The committee's concluding report, proposal, and a fare increase comparison chart were presented to the GRTA board during its May 23, 2017 board meeting for the consideration and approval. I've attached a copy of the report and the chart for your review in my written testimony. As fare increases are being considered, it is important to remember that this is not the cure-all for resolving the past problems and the current situation GRTA is facing with budget constraints and reduction of the paratransit and the fixed route services. Those who need public transportation should not be made to suffer or be punished because of this. GRTA cannot fix its budget problems on the backs of the very poor and the most vulnerable. We plead with our lawmakers to work with GRTA and to give them the full funding it needs, which will allow it to provide reliable, accessible, and cost-effective public transportation services to the general public and to the individuals with disability on the territory of Guam. For those who use public transportation, this is not just a quality of life issue. For too many, it is a survival issue. I would like to thank Senator Frank B. Aguon Jr. and all the members on the committee of the Guam U.S. Military Buildup, Infrastructure, and Transportation for allowing the public an opportunity to be part of the oversight hearing process today. I would like to leave you with this thought by Herbert Humphrey, 1977. The moral test of a government is how it treats those who are at the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the aged, and those who are in the shadow of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mesa, for your testimony this morning.
Oh, okay, so I go talk now?
Yes, you can.
Ma'am, you may proceed with your comments.
Happy day, everyone. Good morning. My name is Lisa Cabrera Ogo, and I'm an individual who is blind. I not only speak today in behalf of myself, but also in behalf of my late partner, Roy Rosario. Roy was once a bus driver. He also took paratransit to his dialysis on a weekly basis. I am also a paratransit rider. This gives me the freedom to be independent, such as going to my appointment and being involved in my community, like attending the different meetings to try to make services better for others, such as the Transportation Focus Advisory Group. I ask you, senators, to please try to find funding for transit so that it can run efficiently. This is a very great need for our island. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ogo, for your testimony. Senators, we're going to go ahead and proceed because we have a number of individuals, riders, that would be presenting testimony, and then we'll proceed with the agencies coming forward. Thank you again, everyone, for your testimony this morning. If I can invite the following individuals to join us up front. You identified yourself as a rider. We are giving the ridership an opportunity to be able to step forward and join us up front. Odie Taitano, Jamie, Kevin Manabusen, Frank Ungakta, Vinia Kachida. Once again, Frank Ungakta, Vinia Kachida, Lourdes Mendiola, Tomas Manglotnia, Lourdes Mendiola, Tomas Manglotnia, Evelyn Duenas, so ladies and gentlemen, if you are a writer and you would like to provide testimony this morning to the members of the committee, I've already exhausted the list. Mr. Leongra, you may join us up front. I've already exhausted the list in regards to bus riders. So once again, let me call the names that have yet, of individuals who have yet to provide testimony. If in fact you would like to provide testimony, you're more than welcome to join us up front. If you're not able to grab a seat at the front table, ladies and gentlemen, we have a cordless microphone that could be made available to you so that you can provide your testimony from your seat. So once again, Jessica Crisostomo, Dot Arentz. If you're in the audience and you would like to provide testimony, you're more than welcome. Odie, we're ready at the table. Kevin Manabusen, Lourdes Mendiola, Tomas Manglotnia, Evelyn Duenas, and that includes everyone who has signed in thus far. So we will proceed from my right, your left at this point in time. So Frank? Please identify yourself for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Senators. Good morning, Mr. Chair, and good morning, everybody in the public. My name is Frank Taitino Ngocto Jr. Everybody in this room knows me as Kool-Aid. I am a paratransit rider, a fixed route rider, and I'm also a dialysis patient. My issue with what's going on, Senator, like I approached you guys in this committee in the past, I wanted to be a winner because I was told that winners with the Guam Public Transit, they ride the bus. I'm also an individual who's totally blind. I'm also the Vice President of New Vision Guam currently, and I've been advocating for the people and my brothers and sisters from the South who have, for some odd reason, have been given the short end of the stick when it comes to ridership on para and whatever coming from the South. I'll give you an example. When I was a working employee or for Valley of the Latte, I would have to travel from the South at 5:30 in the morning, get dropped to Manila, wait at a friend's house, be picked up from said location at 6:30 or 6:45, driven to Valley of the Latte in Talapofo, do my job, picked up in the afternoon, return to said location in Manila, wait for a bus that will be transporting a bunch of us back down south, and along the way coming down, we will be picked up at 5 o'clock going back home, and we'll be ending up with the people in the South, especially from Mariso, that I will be the last one in the bus. First one, 5:30 in the morning, last one off the bus in the evening. Issues have come up recently because I was also injured recently on October 10th of this year on a paratransit bus. And my questions were asked is, the new drivers, are they properly trained? Are they properly certified? Again, I try to get answers to those questions from both GRTA and the provider, and again, no answers were given to me. I recently came on a journey on Monday from the provider themselves, and I was told by their HR manager, Ms. Alagi, that if I wanted a copy of said document to prove to me that this individual was trained properly, I had to pay the amount of the certificate in order to get that. Again, I was berated at that company, and I feel if I was a normal individual who had a disability, would they have treated me the same way? Only time will tell, and only them will know the answer to that. There are other issues in regard to transportation with what's going on about scheduling. I also announced to you earlier that I am a dialysis patient. And this was given to me or recorded from a conversation I had with the current provider.
Okay, so can you just tell me what you said again? If I have to call in to be picked up at 5:30, if I call in at a certain time and there's no listing, I cannot get on the schedule?
You have to call in to make your own reservation. And it's a first come, first serve.
So if I call at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm still not guaranteed to get a spot?
Yeah, if somebody else asks for that 5:30, then they will be given that 5:30.
If somebody else calls in before me, I did.
And they ask for a 5:30 pickup, then I will give them the 5:30 pickup because it's a first come first.
Okay, there's no share right or...
It's a shared right, yes, but if I get somebody at 5:30, I cannot get you and Mauricio at 5:30. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to have to give, because I have to think of travel time for the driver. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're coming, let's say from Agana. It takes, just from Agat to Mauricio, it takes about almost good 30 minutes.
45 minutes.
No, 30 minutes from Agat to Mauricio when you're driving a bus.
Okay.
So see, look at the travel there. Now imagine from Agat to Agana, what, another 20, 25 minutes? And then if the driver's coming from Jigo, just in case, Jigo to Agana to Mauricio, how long is that? How long is that travel time?
Depending on traffic at what time of day,
Exactly.
25.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, so...
I cannot tell you off the bat what time, just depending on what time you call.
So when is a good time for me to call Becky to get on a schedule for 5:30 in the morning?
The earliest you can, as long as it's in between 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Because reservations opens at 8. Now, if you call at 8, especially on a Sunday, there's only one of us working. What we usually do is we answer the phone, we take the name of the person and the number, and then we'll tell them we'll call them back as soon as the phone stops ringing. Because sometimes in a matter of 1 minute, there will be 6 or 7 calls. We have 3 lines.
So could I ask you a question? Out of the 6 buses that we got for Para, they're only concentrated for the north and the central?
No. It's everywhere, but just depending on who calls the earliest from the south.
So if I call at 8 o'clock, I'm still not guaranteed at 5:30 pickup on Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah, because I don't have a 5:30 opening. I'm looking at the schedule.
So what's the next opening you have for pickup?
Frank, you know what? I already explained it to you. You just keep asking me the same question.
Because I'm trying to see if I can.
I can't give you a time. You call me, and depending on that time that you call me, I'll give you what I have available.
See, the reason why I'm trying to find out Becky's was like
I understand what you're saying. You want to know what time, you can set your appointment with too much.
Listen, doctor. Listen, doctor.
I can't tell you.
See,
Not at this time.
Okay, Mr. Doctor, I believe you've covered a lot of the conversation, and if you want to wrap it up in a nutshell.
Well, okay, sir, like I said right there, the issue also is that they're telling me, if you finish the conversation in this recording, the current provider told me that they do not accommodate to the dialysis patient's schedule. I have to accommodate to their schedule. I have to accommodate to what they want me when the bus can come and get me. If I have a scheduled appointment for 5:30 in the morning, then they will drop me in Aguon, wait for my bus to come and a bus to come and get me, or another client's house for them to come and get me there, and they will never come down to Marisa at 5:30, even though I'm scheduled for 5:30 pickup. How's it? They got 5:30 scheduled for me to be picked up, but the bus is not there at 5:30. And then again, try to get questions answered about certification and training, and to be told October 26th that there's no funding, no money, nothing available. When we were established as Guam Mass Transit and we went to GRTA, what happened to all that funding that was put in for Guam Mass Transit? It went to other agencies, UOG, BBMR, I believe, Department of Administration. I asked the former sitting chair if he would try to help us get back that money, and I was told, not happening. If we keep doing what we're doing now, we're going to keep getting what we got. And what we got now, even though we're trying to make it better, it seems that we take 2 steps forward, we take 10 steps back. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we can't get a simple system and help GRTA get the proper funding that is owed to us, and rather than just what we're budgeted, it seems that the money that was dedicated for mass transit, because they were abolished, no longer exists because they gave it to other agencies. So I asked Senator, Mr. Chair, and everybody sitting up there, who would take the challenge and help us get those funding back so we can be properly funded, where we won't have problems with scheduling, have problems getting to dialysis, have problems getting to appointments. And again, from the South, I'm being told from the South that I cannot get on a schedule, even though I call at 8 o'clock in the morning to make a schedule. I'm being told that will take my name and they'll call me back. I called at 8 o'clock. How come they can't get my schedule right then and there? So I still don't understand it, Senator. I tried so hard that I became a fixed route rider, and then even that alone, from the south, from Maganapu going down, there's only locations, no bus stops, no whatever, that in 2015, they finally put a bus stop sign in Marisu, because I was left so many times standing at the gas station, because all it said was Shell gas station, pickup point. It didn't state where, so I could be standing in the front of the gas pump, standing at Bank of Guam or Cathy's Mini Mart, but nowhere, anywhere there, was there a location where it says GRTA bus stop here. 2015, they actually put one right across the entrance of Geus on the corner. And I called recently the provider to ask, does any of your drivers or staff know where exactly the bus stop is in Marisu? Or is it just a physical object, just like the Humatic Fire Station, Aspen PD Mayor, Fisheye, Bell Tower? They're just physical locations, but no sign, no indicator. So if I write fixed route, they don't announce the stops, they don't announce the route, they don't announce nothing. So as a blind individual, how would I know what stop we're at? How would I know where we exactly are? Because recently I wrote a fixed route, and an individual on the bus told me to be quiet and stop bothering the driver because we might cause an accident. Again, I hate to explain to people that this white cane in my hand is an indicator that I'm blind and visually impaired. The issues are growing and growing, and GRTA has done its due diligence to make sure that at least we try to operate with the budget we got. But to be told this year, as of October 26, only one bus running on the fleet, and that there's no money to operate, that recently, just yesterday for a fact, Patrick Guzman was denied a right to go to dialysis because he called at 7 to find out who's his bus driver, and he said, the bus is down. They called him back at 8 o'clock and said, no bus is coming to get you. Find an alternative way to get to your dialysis. And he's from the South.
Thank you, Mr. Ngakto. We're gonna pose the appropriate questions to the officials, so thank you very much for sharing your concerns to the committee members. Ma'am, please identify yourself for the record. Proceed.
Sorry. Okay. Half a day, everybody. My name is Lourdes Bascon Mendiola. I am a parent, legal guardian for 3 adult children with, I have 3 adult children with disabilities. 2 are with my legal guardian. I am the legal guardian for them, and I have a total of 6 children. So my family has been using the paratransit since after their father had passed away in 1994. So all things being said and gone through, I've been there, done that, and I've tried my best to advocate. I have a little bit of a different issue here and concern regarding the transit system, which is the bus routes. By the way, this is one of my adult child. He is not staying with me. He's in a residential group home because for safety reason. As the adult individual with disabilities mature, they change through different phases. Sometimes their behavior is a whole lot severe. So for safety reasons, I have to put my child in the group home. Anyway, the issue and concern here goes beyond the riders, and this in particular is regarding accessing the military bases. If the individual with a disability have military ID card and is able to access the base but cannot, the paratransit will be able to bring the individual in to the base. However, when they are done with whatever business they have in the base, they have to walk out of the gate in order for the paratransit to pick them up. Now, this is not conducive, not to mention the health and the safety. One in particular, my child will have a meltdown, and then it becomes my safety issue. So this falls into the jurisdictions of the local government and the federal government. There has to be some kind of solution here. I have brought this before the table to the agencies involved several years ago, and up till now it has not been resolved. I just like to see more collaboration, and just to, with all the technologies, I'm sure the communities can work together so that they can access, especially the military, the medical facility, because that is a necessity. And after all, even if the individual has a disability, they're also entitled to in the pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mendiola, for sharing your testimony this morning. Odie?
Hi, my name is Adelia Taitino Jaime. I'm more known or well known as Odie Taitino. I used to stay in Central, but now I stay in down south in Moleso. All right, I'm here speaking on behalf, mainly on behalf of the fixed route riders, but I am both a paratransit and a fixed route rider. The problem is, the reason why I'm speaking, a lot of my neighbors, plus friends and relatives, are losing their jobs because there's only one bus going down to the south. Twice, let's say from Jonia down to Inarahampo, twice a day, and likewise on the opposite side, which affects, let's say from Adelup all the way down to Moleso. Okay, there's appointments, people have a public health, jobs, sometimes they take dialysis patients will take the bus because it's along the route. Okay, they can easily get dropped off and walk in. But the problem is there's only twice it goes down to Maritzu, and then twice on the opposite side. And then in between, of course, it goes towards, becomes an express line. It goes towards Gura Veterans Clinic up by Neva Hospital, and several other places in Aguon, such as the governor's office. Okay, it's hard for people to get around from the south. Like I said, they're starting to lose their jobs because they can't get to work. Okay, the earliest bus for Maritzu is at 9:30. And then the only way they're going to get back home is to catch the 5:30 run. Likewise on the Jotnia side. Okay, the bus comes like, for example, 7:30 in the morning. The next route is at 3:30. Okay, people can't get to work, let alone their appointments. Okay, and a lot of, like I said, neighbors and friends have asked me to speak up on their behalf. And also my part, because I do take the paratransit to work, I work from 7 to 3:30, which is my shift. I get up at 3:30, but yet I have to wait till 5 o'clock to be picked up to go home. And then, of course, the thing is, we're not supposed to be in the bus for no more than 2 hours. I don't get home until 8 o'clock, or after 8, sometimes almost 9. Okay, I would appreciate if they at least get a schedule between 3:30 and 4 to get picked up, but no, I always have to wait till 5, sometimes 5:30. Okay, thank you, Senators.
Thank you, Ms. Jaime. Appreciate your testimony. Mr. Leongar?
My name is Ken Leon Guerrero. I'm testifying here today as a member of the Guam Citizens for Public Accountability, as a former employer of people with disabilities, and as a former writer. Starting with former employer. I had 157 employees that had disabilities when I was running Able Industries. On any given day, we would have between 30 and 40% of our employees not showing up for work because they missed the bus or the bus didn't come. And as a result, many of those employees would lose their jobs because under the terms of the Service Contract Act that we had to follow, 3 no-call, no-shows was grounds for suspension, 3 more no-call, no-shows was grounds for termination. And in our effort to offset that, we started our own shuttle service, and our absenteeism rate dropped from 40% to 8%. And we were able to see a dramatic reduction in turnover among people with disabilities. If we had a mass transit system that ran a regular, dependable schedule, we would see a dramatic improvement in the numbers of people with disabilities able to hold regular jobs. That's my first point. My second point is, as a rider, the equipment that Guam Regional Transit has is very dilapidated and dangerous. The reason I stopped riding the buses is I nearly died when I slipped on a patch of oil that came from an engine leak on the rubber mat by the doorway, and I fell out head first. If there hadn't been someone there to catch me, I would have been dead. And there are many other incidents like that. The third reason I'm here to testify today as a community advocate, because we have a growing retiree population. And as we get older, it is harder for us to drive. It's more expensive for us to drive. It cost me $10 to come here today. If we'd had a viable mass transit system that had safe buses, I would have taken the bus to come here today. But unfortunately, as you've heard, I live in the South. So coming to here to testify from the South would not have been an option for me. And there's no reason for this. I am Guam's first Truman Scholar. In order for me to get the Truman Scholarship, I had to write a policy paper on some aspect of public administration. My topic in 1974 was to create a mass transit system for Guam. In doing my research, I went to Hawaii, which had just recently started a mass transit system, and spent a lot of time working with the Department of Transportation officials from the state and the city as they were rolling out their mass transit system. And one of the compelling reasons why Hawaii did the mass transit system, which is one of the top-rated systems in the United States, was a 35-to-1 payback for every dollar invested in mass transit. Honolulu has about 400,000 to 500,000 people a day riding mass transit system, so I think those numbers have continued. The reason why I'm so frustrated as a citizen is Guam should have a world-class mass transit system, because you look at Honolulu, which is one of the top 10, their main line route is 135 miles. Here on Guam, our main line route would be 18.5 miles from gate to gate. And on that basis, we could have had a world-class mass transit system. And I say that because I was a member of the governor's task force back in 2012, 2013, putting together a plan to take Guam's mass transit system into the 21st century from the 19th century. And we put together a plan, submitted it to the governor, that showed not only would a well-run mass transit system more than support itself, but it would have been a dramatic improvement in the quality of life for everybody. As proof of that, I offer the commercial-run mass transit system. I think the Japanese bus service stops between GPO and Micronesian Mall. They have like 60 stops a day, but mass transit has 2 on the same route. So therefore, it's very unlikely that a person working in Tumon could use Guam Regional Mass Transit to get to and from work. So it is economically viable, and if it is done and done right, it will not cost the citizens of Guam a penny. It would be a self-funding operation, as we proved in the research we provided to the governor's office. The reason we don't have a quality mass transit system on this island, unfortunately, is the legislature. Now, when I say the legislature, I'm not talking about you guys, I'm talking about the concept. You created a semi-autonomous agency, but in the process of creating it, you hamstrung it from the very beginning. The Guam Regional Mass Transit System, when you look at the requirements for the board of directors, what we have, and I say this as a person who's been working with the board of directors since '07, we have a board of directors that is not competent to run a mass transit system. Not that they're bad people, it's just the way they are selected, the skill sets they bring are not conducive to running a mass transit system. And as part of that, I look at the selection of the person they selected to be the executive director of the mass transit system, who, when I met with him the first time and talked with him, he admitted he's never ridden a bus before in his life, and that is the person that is running a mass transit system. And when we look at the condition the mass transit system is in today, we go backwards. We have an executive director who doesn't have the tools or the experience or the skill set to run an operation, being supervised by a board of directors who doesn't have the skill set to supervise someone running a vital community service, a logistical service, because when you look at the backgrounds of the people on the board, what you want to see is someone that has background in management, operations, or logistics. And with the exception of one person that I know of on the board, none of the other members have those backgrounds, and that's why we see the problems that the mass transit system has. And since 2007, and the reason I say 2007, that's when I was working with employees.
Mr. Lundberg, I believe we can have this discussion perhaps in the future in regards to the structure and how it's working. What I'd like to do is continue to listen to our ridership and then bring the representatives from GRTA forward so that we can ask the appropriate questions and find out and get a good status of where we are today and what immediate fixes are being addressed, so that in fact these individuals who rely heavily on the bus transportation, public transportation, can have that opportunity to be able to be ensured that they have a reliable public transportation. So,
well, just one last statement.
Yes,
You're
Mr.
looking at 30% of our population is now over 50. 30% of our population has diabetes, and the number is growing. And as people start losing their vision and starting getting neuropathy in their extremities, the ridership is going to be growing. We have 6 dialysis centers on an island this small. You know, so that shows how critical it is that we have a mass transit system that can address a rapidly growing segment of our population and do it in a timely fashion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leongro, for your testimony this morning. Sir. Nangga sa po manayo, Mike.
Yeah, was it on? Yeah, my name is Thomas Mangloni. Okay. I've been riding the bus system for a while, a long time. And what do you call it? Our population is getting bigger, but our system is getting worse. The problem is this, is that once we had the bus system already in place, it was doing good. I think what you guys forgot is that you guys have to continue thinking of the future. I think you guys forgot what's going on, that our population is getting increased. And then when we have a bus coming in, you forgot again for the next future. Okay? I mean, I wouldn't be here if I was driving, but because the government didn't want to help me drive, I'm stuck with the bus system. Right? And it's kind of weird that we have this meeting where you all know everybody's pissed off. What we're having now is that we're hearing about complaints. The complaint will not be here if nobody have touched the funds. I hear the money is, the $500,000 is gone to UOG. When is it coming back? If we're not going to get it from UOG, then let's get it somewhere else. But we just kept on waiting and waiting and waiting. When those new buses came in, you asked all these clients. When I looked at it, I said, we're going to have a problem. And nobody saw it. Now it's too late. We have buses that are breaking down, then it's still stuck there because nobody's touching it. Everybody's saying, oh, maybe because it's sitting for a year. The bus will not break down if it sit for a year. You see cars in a car lot sitting for a year. And then when someone buys it, it ran for 10 years. Nobody saw what kind of vehicle that long bus was coming in. I was the only one to say to people, it's good, it's nice, it's better. But you know where this bus is supposed to be at? Beverly Hills. And then when we have the buses, they stop thinking of the future. What happens if it breaks down? Who's going to touch it? Public Works? The government of Guam? Or the insurance? Or the warranty? It's still sitting. Okay? Your job is probably be politicians. Well, that's it. Then it is your job to find the other money that's there to help us. Why do we have to come here in the last minute to make a complaint? There's some people that are schizophrenic that ride the bus that have the same routine. If they're not schizophrenic, they will come here and complain. There's some people that are in dialysis here that has an appointment today, but they rather risk one treatment, lose it, and then hoping that they don't die, and then continue the next 2 treatments, because they have to do it 3 times a week. When the money went up, when they say, we're going to increase the thing to $3, that's not the solution. It doesn't matter how much you increase, because I have studied the thing. Anything that fascinates me, I study it to the end. And when I went to the mainland, to the, what do you call that? A transportation hearing conference in the mainland, and I see how people run, and they start thinking of the future. I don't see anybody here start thinking of the future. When I have an idea, no one listens. And all I can tell people, I tell you so. It is not only the person that's running it. If you don't got the money to build it, you can't do nothing. You only work what you got. Has anybody tested the new buses? Now, I don't know the whole story. If the whole new buses is given as a gift or what. If it's a gift, good. But just because somebody give you, do not stop thinking. You know, we have solar powers that's already in the island. Other people are telling me now that In the beginning, it's expensive. Now it's cutting their losses. It's replacing whatever they're getting their money back a little at a time. But the goal is they're doing something. And so I was watching something about energy efficient, about other areas. And one company is doing is just using recycled oil. And right now it's almost where they don't have to pay anything. Because it takes 10 years to start thinking of now. You guys forgot about us when we're the last of the barrel. Can I ask everybody here? We're dying. We don't need this meeting. I was working before I was in a wheelchair. I asked to drive. I wouldn't be in this bus. My last goal is to rely on public transportation. But I had no choice. Okay? I can't get a job anywhere, but I have to be self-employed, and it helped me. Now you're taking this away. You jack up the thing, $3 went up. I volunteered, and our group here, some of us volunteered to do a study to find out how much you charge the people in the paratransit. Okay? You're not out there. I was out there when I go around. You never see a senior citizen, old lady, going to dialysis, counting pennies. I have. If I got a leftover sandwich or something like that, you offer it to somebody in a wood that's going to dialysis. They don't eat. Some persons say they only eat once a day. Other people eat every other day. We are getting worse. I like this island because the way I was taught, okay? We think of the people. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Once your election is over, once you're in it, you team up together and find ways. Not because your bill is better or somebody else's bill is better. Not because that guy's bill is from a Democrat or Republican. Our senior citizens, our parents are gone. Thank you, public, you can say, thank God they're gone. Because this is shameful. You guys have forgot our culture. I hear people preaching about our culture and nobody's doing nothing. You have to hire somebody to speak tomorrow to our kids. We forgot our own ways to help people. You know, this is the problem with you guys. You only think about money. What about us? You ever see when I heard, the minimum wage is going up. And I heard one senator mention, this is good because you're thinking of the people. What about the people that don't work? Dialysis. If you jack up the price, they have to pay $75 and they don't receive anything. Some of us are relying only in public assistance. And you ever see a guy only gets $65 a month? I've seen a guy that's working for his family and he still lights candle. He buys canned food because he cannot afford a refrigerator. He doesn't have power. But I respect him because he's doing what he can to help his family. I try to work this year. I couldn't hold the job. The boss is getting me late. I've been trying it part-time. But I don't blame the employers. Their job is to keep the business running. Their job is to pay people that are there. You understand? Our agencies, we just hear what we want to hear, and then when we close the door, we just let it go. I don't make much, I don't got anything. But if I see somebody that needs help, I still try to help because I still got faith. That's all I got is faith and hope. If somebody here change. But I gave up. You guys, the minute you guys are there, you close the door. Your
Okay.
job is to continue finding ways to help this island, not to ignore us.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
Mr. Magnolia.
I came here, I wanted to hold my peace. But sometimes it's just outrageous just to say, why are we here when everybody got the same complaints? When our group volunteered to find a way to study of lower the fee and all this, we did it. And yet, all of a sudden, we're going to jack it up again because someone else is not satisfied.
Thank you, Mr.
But
Magnolia.
you guys are supposed to find the ways to find the money and stop. You're not supposed to stop. This is your job now. Your job is to keep on working for the future. And yet, if the person that we give the money to at another agency because he didn't make his quota or did it wrong, why are they still working? You don't ever see other private business? If you screw it up, take them out. Why are they still working? The company's out.
Thank you, Mr. Magnolia. We're going to continue with the oversight hearing. I do have Rodney Kalimlim. I'm sorry, I bypassed your name earlier, and then we'll come to Evelyn. Rodney, you can provide your testimony. They're going to provide you with the cordless microphone.
Good day and good morning, Senator Fang Aguon. Thank you for giving me this time to talk. As you know, I'm a blind person and I also go dialysis. The problem that I'm having with the bus system is I get picked up at 5:30 in the morning going to my dialysis. There are several times, well, let's not say several times, but most of the time, I get picked up late for my dialysis. I did let the dispatcher know that, hey, if I go dialysis, they're going to cut my treatment time because I'm late. Now, several times they're like, oh, sorry isn't good enough. But what I had to do is on January 2016, I attended a board meeting with the letter that I don't know if you could see it. I had the dialysis write a letter to the Guam Regional Transit Authority to say that they do cut my treatment time. So let's say if my treatment time is it's for 3 hours and 30 minutes, and sometimes I get late an hour and 30 minutes, my treatment time gets cut an hour and 30 minutes, which compromises my life. That's the problem I'm having with the transit. And yet, when I put in a complaint about it, I still get picked up late, very late. And still, the dialysis cuts my time for being picked up late. And I can't do anything about it because if I get picked up late, all the patients after me, they get hooked up late too. So that's why they cut my time. Another thing a problem I'm having is making reservations with the transit. If we don't call by 8 o'clock in the morning, then the time that we're going to, and we have to call 2 days in advance. If we don't call at 8 o'clock in the morning, the times that we need to go to our doctor's appointment, which we make, a doctor's appointment we make months and months in advance, but with our reservations, we can't do it 2 days in advance. There's problems with that because once I try to call to make my reservation, they'll get my number and call me back. And by that time, I can't get the times that I want so that I could go to my doctor's appointment. Why do they have to call us back when they can't? Why can't they just take our reservation at that time when we call up? Not like in Hawaii. I came from Hawaii, and they started the transit system there. I've been hearing about the transit system here is really bad. I did not know until I came back here and started to live here how bad the transit system was. But hey, I made it work out. Instead of them being flexible, I'm flexible to their time. And the thing about late buses too is that when I have a doctor's appointment and they pick me up at a certain time, and by the time they pick me up, they're late, I'm going to my doctor's appointment, I'm late already, I get charged a $75 late fee or cancellation fee because I came late to my doctor. Who pays for the $75? Not the transit, because I was late. I pay for it. And mind you, I'm on a fixed income. I'm just on Social Security, so I'm on a month-to-month basis where my income just lasts me for the whole month. So with that 75, I start to suffer. I start to suffer if I have to pay for it. And still yet, the last time I got picked up late was last Friday. How late? An hour and 20 minutes late. That's how, I mean, I thought the transit was going in a good direction by adding 8 buses or 8 freedoms for paratransit, but they took 2 steps back by going back to 6 paratransits. And now it's even harder to make reservations for me to go to my doctor's appointment. There were several times already I got denied a ride, and this is just going to my doctor's appointment. And I made my doctor's appointment for a month and a half already. So for me to make that same doctor's appointment, I got to wait for another month and a half because they are always fully booked with the doctors. And it's hard because we could only make bus reservations 2 days in advance. And if I don't call at 8 o'clock on the dot, it's hard for me to get the time that I want, that I need for me to go to the doctor's appointment in time. And with these buses, just coming here, I came from dialysis, just coming here, it's very uncomfortable. And I'll tell you why. The hot weather makes if the aircon's not working inside the bus really well, that bus is like an oven. Outside of the bus is actually cooler than inside the bus. So coming here, the bus that I was riding in, it was really hot. You could feel a little bit of aircon, but it was still hot. It's like more of an oven. When I came out that bus, it was actually cooler outside than inside. Another thing that happened, when I was riding the bus, we're going up the hill of Leidy Heights. If you all know the hill at Leidy Heights, kind of steep. The bus couldn't make it. We were about halfway already, but the bus couldn't make it. The driver had to back up down, which was dangerous because there was traffic behind us because the bus was going slow. So that's another thing that's wrong with the buses. Are they really really safe for the streets if it can't go up the hill? Are they? And another thing, they're proposing the rate to increase at a rate where I can't afford it. I really can't afford it. When I was going to Hawaii, the handy van that I was taking, I was given the opportunity where they would pay for my dialysis. They would pay for my ride going to dialysis, going back home, and for my doctor's appointment because they know I can't afford it. But with other things like going to the stores or going to the mall, I would have to pay for it. Why can't they have the same thing here if they're going to increase the fare to $2.50 or $3 where an agency, because the agency that was paying for my fare to dialysis and back home and to doctor's office and back home was Department of Human Services, which is equivalent to public health. Why can't they do the same thing here if they want to increase the fare? And before they increase the fare, fix the system. What I don't like hearing from a lot of people here, from the GRTA, from the service provider, every time I say, Hawaii does this, Hawaii does that, their system works for them and their big population. What I hate hearing is, well, you can't compare here, Hawaii to Guam. That's Hawaii, this is Guam. You got to take out that mentality, because if it works for Hawaii system, it could work for Guam system, and we're such a small island, they're such a big island. If it can work for them, it could work for us. And you see these, I had to get, let me just show you, Senator. Sorry, I don't know what the plastic's. Senator, I'll show you all these. This is the manifest that I got from GRTA. I asked for FOIA for all the times that have been picked up and dropped off. Most of it is, it will show you how many minutes they're late and how many hours they are late picking me up. This is all from GRTA, the manifest that they pick me up and drop me off to where I need to go. This is just dialysis, just my dialysis from 2015, July 2015 to March 2017. It's going to show you how many times they picked me up late. This is straight from GRTA. See how thick it is? So if you'd like to see this, I'd be glad to give it to you. And also the letter from the dialysis that states, when I come in late, they will deduct my time. That's straight from the dialysis, the administrator of the dialysis. That's all. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Mr. Kalimnan, for your testimony this morning. I do have Ms. Evelyn, who has signed up. And if there's any other writers, because we need to proceed with the questioning of the agency and the representatives, any other writers in the audience who would like to present oral testimony who have not already presented? If you can signify by raising your hand. If not, then Ms. Evelyn Duenas, you're the final ridership speaker. Please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Good morning, half-a-day senators and member of this committee. I am Evelyn R. Duenas, a writer of the public transportation system since 1986. I welcome this opportunity to provide input to the oversight hearing for the Guam Regional Transit Authority. I wish to inform this committee about some of the challenges experienced recently. PT 1109, owned by Kloppenberg Enterprises, Inc., was assigned on paratransit service on Saturday, October 28, 2017. The wheelchair securement is located at the rear of the bus. This bus picked me up at Micronesian Mall at about 4:15 in that afternoon. While I was secured in the back, I noticed it was very warm inside the bus because the AC system was not cooling. Only the fan was running. Until the unit was also leaking water and was dripping on me while I was secured at the back. I started to smell exhaust that started to make me feel nauseous. I began to get a headache and was suddenly feeling sleepy. I requested the driver to pull over and asked for a replacement vehicle. Dispatch was notified and advised the driver to drop me at the Barragata Post Office, and I was to await for a replacement vehicle. It was around 5 o'clock, the 5 o'clock hour, and the post office was closed in a remote location with no access to security or amenities. Dispatch instructed the driver to leave me at the post office and proceed to the next pickup. I was shocked to the lack of concern over my condition by the dispatch center, who was evidently more concerned about the route schedule being on time. The instruction given to the driver to leave me stranded at the post office, which was closed for the day, I was placed in a situation of high risk. I refused to be left by myself at the post office, and again insisted that a backup vehicle be sent. I informed the driver that I was nauseous from the fumes and requested to use a bag from the biohazard kit to ease my symptoms. There was no such kit on the bus as required by OSHA, and the driver provided me with a generic plastic bag. Instead, by the time I was feeling so sick, I vomited into the bag. It was only then that the driver asked if I needed medical assistance. I initially stated no, but then my headache worsened, and I was now feeling chest pain and told the driver I changed my mind. The driver had an ambulance dispatched to our location. I started to feel like I could not catch my breath, and on top of that, started to feel sleepy. I felt like passing out from the lack of oxygen. When the ambulance arrived, the medic assessed my condition and determined that I had been exhibiting symptoms of level 3 carbon monoxide poisoning. Condition I understood later that level 5 is considered dangerous and potentially lethal. The medics advised me not to fall asleep while being transported to GMH for emergency treatment. I did my best to do as they instructed, but it was difficult because of my chest pain. Assessment at the emergency room of GMH confirmed that I had carbon monoxide poisoning. The physician informed me that it may take a week or so for recovery, to drink plenty water, and that I may need inhalation therapy. He further stated that the company should take appropriate action on vehicles emitting fumes. I called to have rides scheduled for the following Monday and Tuesday. I was informed at the time by dispatch that only 2 GRTA vehicles were in service and that fixed route was also short due to the vehicle shortage. And upon learning this, I was greatly concerned of what happened on Saturday. I felt I would repeat the same scenario. I was hoping that GRTA, which oversees the provider service, could ensure that the provider's vehicle were safe to operate. Since my condition is created by the contractor's defective equipment, I am requesting GRTA to initiate agreement for the repairs and safety inspection of the GRTA equipment. The physician in the ER advised me to schedule rides with the equipment that will not aggravate my condition while undergoing treatment to recover from this incident. This advice is a recommended agreement until I achieve full recovery that will be certified by my physician. I am considering taking appropriate immediate action against the related parties over this incident that are responsible for the defective equipment that caused this situation. I also take issue over the lack of concern and the attitude of the individuals involved. I do not wish this to happen to another person, especially one like me, who has a disability. It would be appalling if the individual who had speech or cognitive disability was in my situation and was unable to convey this condition to the driver. The result could have been very tragic. Some of the other problems I have are the new phone system, late bus, and scheduling. The phone system problems are repetitive and countless. The numbers of rings and drop calls. These were brought to the attention of GRTA, and I provided suggestions in regards to resolving the issues with adding a new phone system. The provider still needs to provide more staff to answer the calls in line. Sorry about that. I am not the only individual affected by the lack of good phone service. I received the following text messages from a friend just 2 days ago. Wow, Para cannot accommodate me for my 9 a.m. appointment at Inaran Public Health. No right for my appointment today or Wednesday, unless calling in advance. Useless calling in advance. 8 a.m. on November 4th. He sent this message. I have no right for Monday. Never leave a voice message. They don't know about it. That means they don't know how to intercept the messages that are placed on the voicemail with the new phone system. I have no right for Monday. Never leave a voice message. They don't know about it. After Para, I need to keep calling till we get through. When GRTA cut back on the bus fleet, it really affected the schedule and on-time performance. It is common that buses are not on time for scheduled pickup times, and appointments, even with a reservation 2 days in advance. Content calls to the customer regarding delays in schedules recommended by FDA would be appropriate. There is not enough notification regarding changes in schedule due to reduction of buses. GRTA didn't provide the required 2 weeks advance notice to the public as stated in law. GRTA has not been following the Guam Code annotated and federal law on changes to establish transit schedule. Meanwhile, I strongly urge GRTA to review its current operation and take steps to ensure compliance in providing adequate service to individuals with disabilities. Such service must include proper safe maintenance to address safety issues with their equipment. The contractor for GRTA, Kloppenberg Enterprises Inc., must also be put to notice that they too must bring their service equipment to meet standards for safe operations. The safety of all riders on the public transit system is paramount over meeting route schedules. Second to safety is the need of reliability, on-time performance, and professional customer-focused service. As a rider, I expect GRTA and its contractor provider to deliver customer-focused service. If GRTA and the provider would completely address the following and address the findings and remedies identified by the Guam's OCR compliance review, we would have a much better system and fewer complaints. Sincerely, Evelyn R. Duenas.
Thank you very much, Ms. Duenas, for your testimony this morning. Yes.
Senator and the rest of the committee, I also have another testimony.
Ms. Duenas, we have, if it's from Mr. Jake Cruz,
Yes.
we do have written copies of his testimony, and it is going to be entered into the record at this point in time. And we will proceed now and transition. Ladies and gentlemen, the ridership in particular, thank you very much for presenting your experiences with our public transportation system. There was one question that was brought up in regards to why we are here, and it really comes back to each and every one of you who took the time out, who ride the transit. Some of the terms that were utilized specifically was that it's life-saving. It also is critical to the quality of life, and it brings individuals either to receive medical services, to address educational requirements, or transportation to take care of your daily needs. So that's one of the reasons why we are here, listening initially to the ridership and understanding where we are with the resources that are being applied to the public transportation to GRTA today. So we will transition now to the agency. If I can invite the management as well as the board of directors up, we will at this time take 2-minute recess and allow them to be able to settle in. Thank you again, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This oversight hearing of the GRTA, the Guam Regional Transit Authority, is hereby reconvened. I do have a number of questions that will be presented to representatives of the board or management, and then I will open up the floor to my colleagues for any lines of questions that they would like to present. First and foremost, Mr. Augustine, the first question I would like to pose is, what was GRTA's budget for each fiscal year, beginning fiscal year 2014?
Good morning, Senator. You'd like to know how much was our budget?
Yes,
since
that's
FY
correct.
14?
The question, let me repeat the question again.
Yeah.
What was
apologize-
GRTA's budget for each fiscal year, beginning fiscal year 2014?
Okay, we apologize. We only prepared from FY15, 16, because it's not stated here that we have to prepare all the way from FY14. So we prepared from FY15, which I can go ahead and report it to you.
Okay, your allocation for, because you don't have it readily available, fiscal year 2014 was 3.38.
Okay, I will
$3.38
start
million.
with
So
FY15.
you're going to provide information for subsequent
I will
fiscal
provide
years.
it to you later on. Okay? Good morning, Senator, and the rest of the senators in this committee. Okay, my name is Myra Soriano, and I am the Administrative Officer for Guam Regional Transit Authority, and I'm the one that is handling the budget for the agency, and as well as the preparation of the yearly budget. As of now, I can start reporting to you our budget allocation starting FY15. Okay, in FY15, originally we requested for $5,500,000.
The question, Ms. Soriano, is what was allocated in the budget, not the
you
request.
want what is the actual?
What was received
Okay.
and appropriated to the agency?
Okay, the approved budget for FY16 was $3,592,116.
2015.
That is in 2015.
Okay.
In 2016, approved budget was $3,663,958,000. In FY17, $3,663,958,000. And in FY18, we were given $3,666,563.
Thank you, Ms. Soriano. Director Augustine, according to your press release on October 27, 2017, you stated that GRTA is working with a very tight budget, and we will live within the approved budget allocated to the agency. Considering GRTA has been granted about the same budget in the last 3 budget cycles and has been operating with the same budget and providing the same bus services in previous fiscal years, what has changed for this fiscal year?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Senators. When we requested $5.9 million.
For the record, if you can identify yourself.
And we received 3.6.
Mr. Augustine, just for the record, if you can please identify yourself.
Mr. Chair, my name is Enrique Augustine, Executive Manager for Guam Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you.
When we came here for the budget hearing, we requested $5.9 million. At that time, we were budgeted for 11, but what we did was we found money using and augmenting the budget that we used for 2017 with federal funds, and we took monies from salaries, one for our lawyer, PC4, transportation supervisor, PC2. So we look for money all over. And the reason for that, Senator, is that we wanted to continue running 18 buses instead of what was previously budgeted the following year. Unfortunately, as I testified last time, that the budget was approved before the long-term contract was approved.
So so what exactly has changed this fiscal year versus the last 2 fiscal years? Because your budget allocation was approximately the same.
Absolutely. That's a good question, Senator. What changed was that we no longer have access on the past continuing grant allocation. We no longer can afford to take salaries because we have filled those positions. And even though we try to use some of our own bus fare funds that we collected, which was very small, we decided that in order for us to stay within the law and to stay within the budget, that we have to pare back from 18 to 12. The estimate that I gave on the last budget meeting was that empirical data shows that we were spending $319,000 per vehicle.
Okay, so in your October 27 press release, once again, you stated that based on fiscal year 2018 budget, recently approved by the 34th Guam Legislature, GRTA reduced the number of buses from 18 buses that was previously enjoyed by the ridership to 12. And you just highlighted that.
That's true.
Based on your same statement, GRTA has 6 extra buses that are currently not being utilized because the agency is working with a very tight budget and will live within the approved budget allocated. However, in a media report on November 4th, Mr. Crisostomo, GRTA Transportation Supervisor, stated the agency had 11 buses and 11 vans, of which 1 van and 1 bus are in service. The other vehicles needed repairs due to no maintenance contract. So, Mr. Augustine, please provide the committee with an accurate account of GRTA's bus fleet, and why are you not able to provide busing services?
There are 2 answers to that, Senator,
Please.
if you would allow me.
Please.
On one hand, we're talking about the new buses that have gone down because they're used 15 hours a day, 6 days a week. On the other hand, despite what the media said, that we were down to 1 bus, that's not true. We had 6 paratransit buses, and we've never missed providing buses for paratransit, even at the expense of the fixed route. Right now, we're operating at 75% on operation. This is not maintenance. This is 2 things, maintenance and operation. And we'll discuss maintenance when you ask me for this question. But we are 75%. Never miss. Never miss paratransit ride, even at the expense of fixed route. And the fixed route, although it inconvenienced the fixed route riders, because now the frequency of the available buses to serve fixed route, we were still able to provide fixed route service.
But Mr. Augustine, like was mentioned, your GRTA Transportation Supervisor mentioned that there was 1 van and 1 bus in service. So if you're operating, and that's as of November 4th, what is your numerical figure for operating at 75% capacity?
Again, Senator, we have maintenance and operation. Based on my statement that we pared back from 18 to 12, the provider, and when I say provider, we have a contract long-term, the providers provided the buses and augmented by our buses, the GRTA buses that have been running 6 days a week, 90 hours a week per bus. Compare that to how many times you run your own vehicle. So we have a maintenance program that would address those issues, and I would like Mr. Crisostomo here is really here with baptismal by fire, because he's new, but he's not new to maintenance or transportation. So he would provide you with the appropriate figures as you ask them.
Thank you, Mr. Augustine. So let's just understand, and for my colleagues and also the audience that are listening, how many buses does GRTA presently have, and how many are under service? They are not operational. So can we get that number, Mr. Crisostomo, because Mr. Augustine has yielded to you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Crisostomo. I'm the GRTA Transportation Supervisor. Currently, today, we have 12 MV1 minivans, which of 2 are operational. We have 11 ARBOC buses, which is 1 that is operational.
And there was mentioned a little earlier that there's a maintenance program in place. Can you?
Yes, so let's clarify this maintenance.
Or I'm sorry, Mr. Crisostomo, let's backtrack. Because Mr. Augustine mentioned that there were 18 buses. So now you're saying there are 12 minivans and 11 buses in the inventory.
That is correct, Mr. Senator. We have 1 minivan that is assigned to the Veterans Affairs in asset.
Okay. So you have
23 total vehicles.
in totality, you have 12 minivans, 2 are presently operational.
That's correct.
And 11 buses,
That's correct.
1 operational.
That's correct.
I mean, yeah. So how many buses does the contractor, KEI, presently have in their fleet that is being utilized for public transportation and is operational today?
So at a total, there's 12 buses on the road in service. GRTA has 3 operational buses of those 12. 9 are provided by the contractor. 9 buses are provided by the contractor.
I was just asked by the good senator, if you can repeat those numbers again, please?
Yes. There's 12 buses, a combination of GRTA buses and contractor buses. So far, we have 3 operational buses
Okay, let's go
that
back to
are
your
in
numbers.
service.
Let's go back to your numbers, because you started off with 12 minivans, 11 buses,
Yes,
23 total.
yes. that's
Okay, so
correct.
you just said there are 12 buses. So let's walk this through. Okay, GRTA, you mentioned Mr. Crisostomo, and just confirm it. If not, you can reiterate it. GRTA has under its inventory 12 minivans and 11 buses,
Correct.
of which 2 minivans are operational and 1 bus is operational. That's GRTA.
Correct.
Okay. So your contractor, KEI, can you reiterate what you just shared?
So the number of buses that a contractor is providing every day is 9.
Okay.
1, just remember, I'm still accounting for 1 van assigned to VA.
Understood. So looking at the contract, there was a public statement that was made by a representative from KEI that said the buses are provided and owned by GRTA, that they provide bus drivers, schedulers, and dispatchers. That's the nature of their contract. So at this moment, I'm being informed, and the senators are being informed, that 9 buses are being provided by the contractor. So can you please clarify that for myself and some of the senators?
Okay, Senator. It's The longest story for 12 years is that transit runs and pays the contractor month to month.
Okay, Mr. Augustine,
No,
I
I'm
understand.
trying to be a
We
story here.
understand, many of us here at this table understand exactly what the historical aspect is.
The
We're talking
con-
about
the-
where are we today
Right.
with the fleet, what is the contractual arrangement, and then we're going to transition into maintenance, please.
Okay. Senator, the contract allows for our vehicle to be operated, when I say a government-owned vehicle, to be operated by the contractor. In the event that we don't have enough government-owned vehicle, then the contractor is allowed to use their vehicle at a slightly higher rate. And that is the contract that we have with the vendor, the long-term contract.
Okay, so at this point in time, for the information of the public, there are 12 either buses or minivans that are presently operational out in the field,
We
which is
designated,
inclusive of 9 from KEI and 3 from GRTA. Is that correct?
the issue for the operation is we pared back from 18 to 12 because of budget. We are having difficulty with new vehicles because fair wear and tear, and we will address that.
Okay, okay, so let's go back to your 18 then. Because of the budget, supposedly the budget that is allocated for fiscal year 18, you pared back 18 buses to 12. So that tells me you had 18 buses that could be operational. So you're down to 12 that are actually being operated out in the field. So you have a reserve fleet of 6. But from what I'm hearing is that there are only, in total, 3 total, 2 operational minivans and 1 bus. So you're going to have to, I'm trying to look at simple math and understand exactly where GRTA is today. From your perspective, you may know where it is, but we have to understand what you have in your fleet and what are not operational and what are in service and what are being sent to GSA for possibly for eventual disposal. So once again, I'm going to ask the same question. You said the 18 buses are available. So where are the 18 buses?
The buses that you're talking about that have maintenance issues are strictly ours. We cut our buses down from 18 to 12 because of the budget. There's 2 things going on here, Senator. One is we're addressing maintenance, and one is providing buses to the public. There are 9.
You're right. We're going to get to the maintenance.
There are nine
Mr.
buses.
Augustine, we're going to get to the maintenance.
Yes,
But you're saying
there
you
are
had
9
18
buses running.
Mr. Augustine, you said you had 18 buses in the fleet. You reduced that to 12 that are serviceable, that could get out into the field to provide direct service to our bus riders.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the information I have gleaned from you. So that tells me that there are 6 additional buses that are on reserve. Now, if that's not the case, then I need clarification.
Okay. I defer that to Mark. He's got that information.
Please.
Yes, Mr. Senator. So we have 3 buses operational. And if we include the one assigned to VA, then that's 4. The remaining of the buses are currently down for maintenance repairs, ranging from a minor repair such as tires to a major repair where we need some serious repairs.
Okay, so I'm taking your numbers,
Yes.
Mr. Crisostomo. So out of 23, 4 are operational.
That is correct.
So 19 are out of service.
That is correct.
So where are we with maintenance? Please.
With maintenance, currently, the only maintenance program we are running right now is under the warranty of the manufacturer, 1. The second maintenance piece to this
Can
is
you
a-
highlight the warranty by the manufacturer? Is it a 3-year warranty for data purchase or 4 years?
It's a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty per the manufacturer. That's the first one. The second one is a 3-year or 36,000-mile whichever comes first, preventive maintenance. And then the third one is a day-to-day operations required by the driver to perform a pre and a post inspection. For instance, if the tire was low on air, that driver will fill it up. That's the only 3 maintenance systems we have in place.
So how many buses or minivans do you presently have under warranty? Senators, we
Right now?
transition to maintenance, so please, if you have any questions you would like to pose, just let me know. Yes, Mr. Chrysostomou.
Right now, we have 11 of the fleet that is that is not under warranty. It's not.
So
That's because it surpassed the 36,000 mile. Remember, it's 3-year or 36,000 mile, whichever comes first. In this case, the miles came first.
Okay,
So there's
so-
11 of the fleet.
So of the 12 that are presently under warranty, is the agency following the warranty maintenance plan?
We are. I am.
So the agency, during the course since its purchase, has taken these vehicles into the seller who's on island, the company that's on island, and had these vehicles properly maintained based on the maintenance plan under the warranty. Is that correct?
The preventive maintenance, yes, that is correct.
Then why do we have so many that are out of commission?
Let me explain the difference between preventive maintenance and unscheduled maintenance, okay? The preventive maintenance is as if you bought a vehicle from AK and you turn it in on the scheduled service, such as changing the oil in the filter and the fuel filter. Unscheduled maintenance is any repairs needed not covered under the warranty, such as brakes, wipers, wiper motor, tires. Those items are not covered under the warranty. That is the difference between the two. The problem we're having is majority of the buses fall under the not covered under warranty repairs, such as tires.
Okay, then let's transition to the unexpected maintenance requirement for your vehicles. Where are we with that contract?
Senators, currently we are in the process of this, and I will defer that question to Ms. Myra.
Okay, then let me just backtrack, please. I'm trying to understand how operations work with mass transit. Myra, you consummated a contract with KEI,
Yes.
which was initiated in January of this year, 2017.
November of this year.
No,
I mean,
it was awarded in November, but the contract term started in January of this year.
Correct.
Okay, so since January, knowing full well that these buses, based on the information that was provided here, run how many days a week?
6 days.
6 days a week.
15 hours.
How
a
many
day.
hours a day? You mentioned 15. I've read documents that says 16 hours a day. So if you have the contractor that has the fleet of vehicles that they're using that is inventoried and owned by GRTA, and the responsibility of maintenance is with GRTA, not with the contractor, my question is, with these vehicles and buses and minivans that are being utilized that extensively every week, 16 hours a day, 5 days a week, that since January, we are still trying to formulate a maintenance contract. Please explain why.
Okay. During the time that we initiated the long-term contract, okay, it was started in January, right? So since the buses are running, like what we mentioned, 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, we know already that most of the buses are nearing 36,000 miles, and almost the warranty involved are already almost going to be finished or ending, okay? So sometime in May, the management of GRTA gathered and talked about that we have to put up our own preventive maintenance. It's called maintenance and repair of our all GRTA vehicles. Okay,
So, Ms. Soriano,
that
was okay. I'm trying to follow you with timelines.
okay.
Okay, so
The
in May,
yes, the
in May was
requisition-
brought to the attention of, was it brought to the attention of the board?
Pardon me.
Was it brought to the attention of the board about the need for a maintenance, preventive maintenance contract?
It's on the board minutes. It's on the board minutes and been mentioned to the board, our concern about the maintenance, and yes, we have initiated a bus maintenance contract procurement effort since May. The vehicle came in, actually being used in January, February, March, April, May, 4 months. Lacking any empirical data because the government of Guam hasn't had any vehicles. They haven't bought any vehicles in 25 years. We did not have the empirical data to project forward how fast this equipment are going to be breaking. But we anticipate that it's going to break, and that's why we went in and used or assigned $100,000 of our fare collection money because there wasn't any from the government of Guam. And so we initiated that process. In the meantime, to survive, and I'm sorry if I'm yelling here because I'm excited about my work. To survive, we have initiated blanket purchase orders for brakes, for tires. But even with that effort, this equipment were being used very high, 90 hours a week versus your own vehicle of 10 hours a week.
Let me ask you,
So,
Mr. Augustine.
so we have a program.
Mr. Augustine?
Yes,
because I'd like to also allow my colleagues to ask questions, but you say mass transit does not have any historical, empirical data for maintenance.
for the type of equipment that we have, the one that we just
you've been in
bought.
the operations, you've been sitting in that capacity for how long?
What was the question again?
You've been sitting in that capacity, in that position for how long?
I came in September 2014.
So since 2014 through the closure, December 2016, that's not sufficient time to understand exactly the usage, the level of usage of these buses and these minivans that are with our public transit authority, and understanding that there's a need for regular, either preventive maintenance or regular maintenance for these vehicles. To me, I'm concerned about that. But moving on, where are we with the contract? Because the discussion was presented based on your information today to the board in May.
Senator, during the previous years of the public transit operation, it was on a month-to-month basis, and everything is being taken care of by the
Ms.
contractor,
Soriano,
right?
the discussion with the board, based on information presented, was presented to the board in May. It's 6 months later. So where are we with a maintenance contract for these vehicles and these buses?
Okay. In May of 2017, we know that we are going to have already encounter problems with the buses because most of the buses are one by one breaking down. Okay, so we decided to cut a requisition worth $100,000 for the maintenance and repairs of the GRTA fleet of vehicles. Okay, we keyed in that requisition in May, but it so happened that due to some procurement challenges, okay, it has not been entertained that fast. Okay, now I keep following
Ms. Soriano, was there a written procurement challenge?
Procurement challenge with.
Was it released? The $100,000 open purchase order, was that released to the public and then someone protested against it?
No.
Or
that
a
is-
company protested?
That is an invitation for bid.
Okay.
We got the requisition for invitation for bid for the repairs and maintenance of GRTA vehicles. That was in May. Okay, but it didn't happen that fast. And although we keep on following up what is the status of our requisition, we have not received any response or any update, okay, regarding the requisition that I keyed in May. Okay, what happened was sometime in August, okay, May was when I keyed in, and sometime in August, I had a discussion with GSA management, and they reviewed the IFB together with the specifications that was attached to it, and they recommended that instead of doing an IFB, we have to do a sole source procurement, because some of the buses are still under warranty. If we are going to pursue an invitation for bid and it's awarded to another vendor, the warranty for the vehicles might be voided. So that was the recommendation that we got from the procurement office.
So at this point in time, you still don't have a maintenance contract?
No. And
Okay,
in
so
August,
okay.
Okay, in
So from
August-
August,
Yes.
you were instructed to go with an IFB, invitation for bid, and to utilize that process, despite today, out of 23 vehicles that GRTA presently has in inventory, 19 are down. They're not serviceable, they're not usable, and they are not out in the field.
Oh, okay.
So to me, there was a sense of urgency back in May. And just being able to sit down there and walk this entire process through so that you would have a maintenance program. If you set aside $100,000 specifically to maintain these vehicles, then $100,000 is readily accessible and available to get some of these things through. Let me ask you another question, and then I'm going to focus on the contractor. Is there another government of Guam agency that maintains buses, operates buses?
Not to GRTA, not
Is there a
related
sister
or-
government of Guam agency that maintains and operates buses?
I think Public Works.
Absolutely.
Public Works. Or
So has
building.
there been any effort, in light of 19 of your 24 buses inoperable, 24, has there been any effort on the part of the agency to approach DPW and see if they can render direct assistance, at least get more of these buses out into the field?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. We found an old law, I think it's 1982.
Mr. Augustine, it's not going to require an old law.
No,
It is
wait,
sister agency to sister agency asking for direct assistance. So
yes, we did.
When did you communicate with
yes,
DPW?
yes, we did. Okay. After being frustrated with the process of trying to get bus service maintenance, I approached DPW and we spoke about, hey, I know you guys have...
When did you approach DPW?
What was the date? We'll get that date too. We spoke to the new deputy general manager, deputy director, okay, Mr. Andrew Leon Guerrero, along with Mr. Paul Cepeda.
Mr. Leon Guerrero just assumed his responsibility within the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
So that tells me within the last 2 weeks you had an opportunity to discuss issues with DPW.
And the discussion was...
That's an issue, and you need to press with the maintenance. Let me ask another question. In light of not having sufficient buses in your inventory that are operational for the field, it costs how much for the contractor KEI to operate your buses versus how much does it cost for KEI, the contractor, to have GRTA use their buses?
KEI does not have a bus service contract, maintenance, not bus service, but bus maintenance contract with us. It has never It was not in the long-term contract. It
Okay,
was not
let
in
me,
the
let
long-term
me
contract.
ask it a different way.
Okay?
You presently have a contract with KEI. How much does it cost for them to operate your buses?
It's a different thing of $23. Remember, when we...
$23
Wait, let me
an
get
hour?
No, let me get it straight here, because I got my notes. If it's fixed route, and they use our equipment, we pay them $50.93. If they use their equipment for fixed route, yes, an hour. If the contractor used their buses, it's $73.35.
35 cents.
And that, I want everybody to hear this, and that's to include fuel, maintenance, and everything that goes with that equipment. That is the difference of, let's say...
And that is part of the contract?
For them to provide...
Is that part of the contract?
Not a maintenance.
That was consummated and awarded on November
Yes,
23rd,
yes.
2016?
The contract stipulates that if they use their equipment, this is how much it's going to cost.
So it is in the contract?
Yes.
Okay, this is what I would do. I did put in a request for additional information inclusive of the contract with KEI. I did request for maintenance information and documentation with regards to that. Until we get a good understanding as to where your fleets are, the additional cost of $23 per hour for a contractor that already has a contract to provide services because we don't have our vehicles up to par. And Mr. Crisostomo is telling me and the senators that many of these vehicles are in need of possibly minor repairs, and they could get back on the field. I will recess this public oversight hearing until Wednesday, March 15 at 4 p.m. until we get those documents that were requested by yours truly for information to be disseminated to the senators, and then also the maintenance issue, because that is the heart of getting these buses out into the streets if in fact they require minor issues or repairs. Now, Mr. Augustine, I understand that you're wanting to make some comments, but this would also provide you with additional time to continue your conversation with DPW and ensure that if some of these buses and minivans are in need of minor repair, then DPW may be able to step in and provide that direct service so that we don't have to pay. No offense, even though the contractor is doing a good job, we don't need to pay on behalf of the people of Guam $23 more an hour for the 9 buses that are presently being lent by the contractor to GRTA. So this hearing is hereby recessed until Wednesday, November 15th at 4 p.m. Thank you, Senators. Thank you, everyone.